Hey everybody, this is Rouvio, and today we're going to talk. Today we're going to talk about empathy. So you were feeling down, you were saying the other day.
I was feeling alive. I was very present, and I wasn't feeling down, but I went into the restroom and I had to just bawl it out for like 15 seconds.
Was this after you met this guy?
This was actually throughout the whole day, and then this guy came in. That was just kind of the cherry on top. But I was kind of just feeling that emotion the whole day. Like,
so what was this guy about? Tell the people out there in our lovely world of the internet what this guy was about. What made you have such an emotional connection with him? Become so empathetic towards him?
He always comes in alone, and he sits there alone. Which is cool. I do that too, no biggie. But I've never seen him with anybody else. He doesn't smile, but he just kind of sits there and he does his thing, and he has this facial expression of like, what does it take for this person to smile? And I just started thinking like, it was kind of a mix of how I was feeling throughout the whole day. Because this is what I want to say. Like, my life is good. Could I be more financially dependent? Could this? Could that? Yeah, of course. But right. As far as like my life, the things that are important in my life, I'm doing extraordinarily well.
Okay.
But there's still, and I noticed this as I went into the restroom yesterday and I bawled it out a little bit. That first thing that came to my mind as to how I can express how I felt yesterday in the restroom was, I have a lot of pain inside of me.
So this is pain not towards yourself. This is pain towards somebody else who you've kind of acknowledged may be on a different level towards life than you. He may be under some pain. He may not. He may be completely content and happy, but the messages the vibes he's kind of giving off are vibes that you've interpreted as there is something deeper there. There is something, maybe there is pain that this dude is feeling, and he could do with a little bit of TLC. Something each individual can do to at least rectify some of this, if not from a actual, let's douse some of those fires perspective, but from an emotional perspective maybe, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Check this out, dude. I hope it somehow comes together. I'm not a dick. Doesn't mean I'm a good guy. Doesn't mean I'm a great guy.
Depends who you ask, I suppose.
Say it again?
Depends who you are.
Yeah, okay. This is true. But you know what? It doesn't mean I'm likable. It doesn't mean I'm a good guy. It doesn't mean I'm a great guy. It just means I'm not a dick. Like, it means I'm not gonna be the disrespectful, like, dick. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because my parents said, dude, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
And so when you have people being disrespectful, when you have people actually being like douchebags out there, there's a really big chance that it doesn't mean that their parents are bad people. It doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that there wasn't this dialogue between the parents and children to say, hey, maybe we should start thinking about like how you get along with the rest of society.
Maybe there wasn't a dialogue at all in that family. Like, they didn't learn to talk like we're doing. I think one of the problems that we have in our world is that you can't have a decent discussion with people from a different perspective. If, say, for example, you were right wing and I was left wing, in our society it's deemed as not normal to have this discussion. But maybe when you're growing up, one person in the family is always right wing and one person's always left wing. And I don't mean this in a racist kind of political sense. I mean it from one guy's abiding the rules and the other guy is being completely loose and doing what the fuck he wants, yeah? Which is usually the child. And I think sometimes when you grow up in a family, you have that pressure of the parent is almost like a state telling you can't do this, you can't do that, but not reasoning with you, not giving you reasons why, not allowing you to be a free thinking spirit. And exactly what you're saying is what I think the world is missing a bit today, is the fact that you can have different thoughts. You can like Trump if you want, but still hate certain things he does, but we're not allowed to in our society in a lot of areas, is actually have a thought which may wander off into the right and a thought which may wander off into the left. So I fully see what you're coming from, and I think with your empathy, this guy must have triggered something in you which it left you to believe, or made you feel sad even. I'm not even saying left you to believe a certain belief that there was, but you were saddened by his lack of words maybe. You were saddened maybe through his mannerisms, through his body language. Did you start engaging this conversation with him?
No, I didn't have any conversation with him. And one of one of the funny things is I actually don't like the guy. Even though we have no contact, like it's and these are the things where I'm correcting myself, like or at least trying to correct, or at least calling myself out because I don't know him.
Yeah.
And there's something that he does that I wouldn't do that way, and that already alone is having me have some type of a thing against him. Like, for example, one day he came in 2 minutes before I had to close.
Right.
And he came in and he ordered something super complicated. And I was like, I'm sorry, dude, I'm gonna close in 2 minutes. I was like, and then I called myself and I was like, but I'm officially still open for 2 minutes. So yeah, I guess I can make this for you. But I made it very clear that I wasn't really too happy about having to do this right now.
Sure.
Didn't leave a tip. Didn't really say thank you. And these are things that kind of bothered me. If I continue to go this way, then I'm part of the problem.
Yeah, sure. Because you're basically you're allowing him to be a dick, for want of a better word, but at the same time you're not challenging or questioning why he's maybe being like that, and you're not allowing yourself to open up into a dialogue with him to defuse the situation, to maybe even understand maybe he's having a shit day, maybe he's just a dick. Yeah.
Or maybe he's just a guy who wanted to have a smoothie 2 minutes before I closed.
Exactly, with no thought behind of why and the fact that he's late. Because some people are just, they go through life without thinking too much.
The people that are, let's say in their 50s, 60s, or our age, they don't know how to say thank you. They don't know how to say please, or they're walking around like this.
But that could also be a cultural thing in Germany. There are a lot of miserable buggers in this country. and when you get to know them, they're not longer as miserable. It's sometimes just this.
This is true.
I'm going through life. This is my default face. I get up in the morning. I look stinky. Yeah. Right. I go into a cafe. I look stinky. I'm not really stinky. I just couldn't give a shit. Right. It's just my default face of going through life.
And is that not a great point? But is that then not like a sign of something deeper? Like something like.
Well, we can get really heavy into this,
yeah.
But I think we're leaving the conversation in the sense of we're leaving what we initially were starting to talk about the empathy towards this guy, or are we leaving this?
I think it's still there because it's not I'm using one example, but it's happening all the time.
It's your responsibility out there to be happy today whilst watching this. Not tomorrow, not yesterday, but now. Take that shit upon yourself. Be happy. Word. Thanks everybody for listening. That's Pedro and the Rouvio.
The Roofs.
Pedro, see you soon. We'll be back.
Thank you, brother.
Don't you worry about it. We'll be back. Peace.